do that recording thing. So I didn't forget today. Well, thank you all for joining us today for the COMTO Hampton Roads General Membership Meeting for January. Happy New Year to everyone. We're really excited about 2022. We're really hoping that we really can get a lot of people to join COMTO as a member. So we feel like there's a lot of great benefits to being part of this membership. I mean, networking with a lot of great professionals, not just here locally, but even nationwide. It's a way to really stay plugged in with what's happening in transportation across the country, and stay really linked in there, as well as we have at this chapter, so many great guest speakers that we have each month. So it's always great training and learning that is offered to its members at no cost other than membership, which is a very low cost for individual membership of 125. And there's also company memberships or business memberships that you can find out by going to our national website. So anyone who is interested, I will put my email in the chat. It's kbranch at hrtransit.org. And please see me about a membership if you're not currently a member and interested. But with that, today we have one of our very own who is the guest speaker. So I'm super excited because I'm just a huge fan of Miss Jennifer Dove. You see over here that pretty pink background. And so I'm just really grateful that she's even coming. I mean, she hasn't even been feeling her best, but you never know it because she looks so beautiful over there as always. But that's Jennifer, if anybody knows Jennifer. I always told her that, she would be like this perfect life coach. If you ever had anybody who you just needed to inspire you, and really even just tell you the truth about yourself in such a loving way, she's that person. I mean, she's always got a plethora of advice that's so useful and so good for you, like professionally or personally. I mean, there's just no area. She's just that kind of a person. So, I consider her a colleague as well as a friend. But I want to read a little bit of her bio. I'm gonna read it off of the back of this book. I'm gonna take off my back. Well, no, you can see it now. I was going to take off my background, but she is the author of Ready for More, A Woman's Guide to Becoming Fearlessly Authentic. So, I mean, I'm just so excited. I mean, she's a published author, and she has worked to empower and uplift women for almost 20 years. Her passion for working with women has been demonstrated through developing and facilitating programs and working to ensure equity for women. I mean, she lives in Virginia Beach with her husband and two children. And I mean, she's just a resource for, if you want to know anything about DBE, social services, just whatever it is. I promise you, Jennifer has the advice that you need and can encourage you to achieve what you're seeking to do with your goals. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jennifer. Thank you so much.
Keisha, thank you. I don't even know, I don't even know what to say to all of that. But can you all hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
I will just go ahead and get started with the presentation. And I will tell you, this is an interactive presentation. So you can participate during my presentation. I'm going to share my screen. Give me 1 second. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So what we're going to talk about today is limiting beliefs. Okay. So this is something that all of us have. Every person on this call, every person that is breathing has limiting beliefs, and we're going to talk about them today. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to understand what limiting beliefs are. We're going to talk about how you can recognize them. how they impact you in your career, your personal life, and if you can change them. And then I'll take any questions that you may have. So let me tell you a little bit about me. Keisha did tell you I am the Civil Rights and Grants Program Coordinator at HRT. So I'm responsible for the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Program, and I'm also responsible for Title VI and discretionary grants. Now, in my other life, I will say, I have over 20 years of experience in life change management. And what that means to me is that I have over 20 years experience in working with people who want to make a transition. Either by choice or by force. They want to go from point A to point B. And so I have a lot of years experience working with people to help them to do that. I have seen people succeed and fail due to how they approach their system of belief. So for many years, I worked with people that were on welfare. And what I always saw was the women that did better, who got jobs faster, who were able to get off welfare faster, were always those women that were true to who they were, who were quick to state, these are the issues and the problems that I'm having, and I need to do something. So I am also an authenticity coach. I'm a certified life coach. And as Keisha shared, I am the author of the book, Ready for More, A Woman's Guide to Becoming Fearlessly Authentic. So what are limiting beliefs? Limiting beliefs are thoughts, convictions, or opinions that we believe to be absolute truths that hold us back in some way. Limiting beliefs are beliefs that keep us from thinking, saying, or doing things to move us forward. Now, I'm going to share with you a limiting belief that a lot of us have heard, and I want you to let me know if you've ever heard this limiting belief before. Children should be seen and not heard. Have you all ever heard that before?
Yes.
Yes. Growing up.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
right? As a child, has anyone told you that when you were a child?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
children should be seen and not heard. That is an example of a limiting belief, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more. Another one, this is a limiting belief that a lot of people say to themselves, and it keeps them stuck. Bad things always happen to me. Have you ever said that to yourself? Or do you know someone that is in that mode? And they remind me of, I don't know if you all are familiar with Winnie the Pooh, but they remind me of Eeyore. He is always down. He is always sad. He is always pitiful. A limiting belief could be that bad things always happen to me. Has anyone ever said that to themselves?
I haven't said it to myself, but I have
Mm-hmm.
had a friend that always seemed to say that. And I'm like, why do they
Oh,
say that? When you speak that,
yeah,
that's, what you get when you say that.
I
So,
do have a friend
absolutely.
like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think if it's not us, we all have someone in our lives that looks to the bad things all the time, right? So I think we can all relate to that.
Mhm.
So how can you recognize your limiting beliefs? So when you are able to recognize your limiting beliefs, you can start to change them. So let's talk about where some of these limiting beliefs come from. Experience, right? So when we go back to the limiting belief that says children should be seen and not heard, that limiting belief can be instilled in us from experience, right? My grandmother used to say that all the time. So as a child, I grew up believing that when you were around adults and adults were talking or you were in their presence, that you did not say anything. Only if you were directly asked a question. And then if you were, your answer had to be quick and succinct, right? So it was ingrained in me that children, when I was little, that children shouldn't be heard. So what can be the problem with that though? So if children are only seen and not heard, how could that impact children?
They will begin to believe that their opinion never matters.
Exactly. And so children who believe that their opinion never matters become adults who feel that their opinion never matters. And this impacts them in their relationships. This impacts them at work. This impacts them in all aspects of their personal lives because now they have taken on this limited belief from experience, right? So another place where we can get our limiting beliefs from are from education. People think, well, I go to school and I learn and I, went to high school and I went to college and I did all of these things. But sometimes the things that we are taught can cause limiting beliefs for us because they may not be true in all cases, particularly when teachers or books are written from a place of limiting beliefs. If a teacher has a limiting belief, it could be very easy that that teacher instills that limiting belief in her class. Same thing with whoever authored a book. Another place that limiting beliefs can come from is faulty logic. So we often make decisions based on poor estimation of probabilities. So when I talk about education, a lot of people believe that if you, that they have the limiting belief that if you want to be wealthy, if you want to be successful, if you want to have all the things in life that you desire, you have to go to college. You have to graduate from high school. You have to go to college. You have to work hard in college. After you graduate, you have to work hard to find a job and you have to work hard to be successful. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't go to college and I'm not saying that you shouldn't work hard. But what I'm saying is not everyone that is successful has a college degree. And a lot of times faulty logic can lead us to limiting beliefs, right? So ask Jay-Z, ask Kanye, ask Bill Gates, ask Mark Zuckerberg if going to college is what makes you successful. Another thing, does anyone have any experience with faulty logic, or can anyone relate to a core belief that you have been told or brought up with, or that seems logical to you, but if you really thought about it, maybe it is a limiting belief?
I will say once, having gone to college myself and completing 2 degrees, it wasn't
Yeah.
until after that I was like, well, you really don't have to go to college to be successful because you see those around you, either they're good with their hands or they're good with making stuff, or they just, I guess, dug a little deeper. But myself, I just felt like college was it for me. And I
Right,
was,
right.
tell people, yeah, go to college. But now it's kind of like college is great, but it's what works for you because it's not for everybody,
That's
and it
right.
doesn't
It
always
is.
give us all the same outcome.
And another thing, thank you for contributing to that. But another thing I want to tell my children. I have a daughter that's in the 11th grade. I want to tell her this, and I'm so skeptical because of my own limiting beliefs. I want to tell her that yes, you need to work hard if you want to go to college so you can get in. But the truth of the matter is this: when I graduated from high school and when I graduated from college, with an A average, the people sitting beside me with a C average got the same degree I did. And that thought is, that's really challenging, my limiting beliefs. Do we have to work that hard to be successful? Is that a limiting belief that causes us stress and unnecessary strife? I don't know, but it's something to really think about. Anybody else have anything to say before I move on to excuses?
Well, I mean, what did they say? Who was it? What was Donald Trump? They said had a C average and he ended up being the president of the United States.
George W. Bush as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
that
it's
really
really
challenges my limiting beliefs right there. I was like, wow, that's a great
I'm-
point.
I might, I might
yeah.
just want to add one point, Jennifer, that Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. had a C in public speaking. So it doesn't,
Wow,
yeah,
Sharon.
I usually share that with my students. Yeah, 2 semesters,
Wow.
the entire year. Actually, he had a C
Wow.
plus, and then the next semester he had a C, so he went down. Got worse.
That
Wow.
that just goes to show you, right?
Yeah.
That
That
just goes to show
challenges
you
our
that
limiting beliefs.
Yes.
It does. It does. Another place that our limiting belief comes from is just excuses. Simply put, there can be times when we just don't want to put the effort in, right? So we make an excuse. Now I know I have done that before, right? I just I don't want to do it. So I say, you know what, this is too hard. I said, this is so difficult. You know, and I'll be transparent with you, Keisha. When I first took on Title 6 and I had to do that Title 6 analysis for the city of Norfolk, I was like, what? I can't do this. Like, this is too hard. I had just set the limiting belief in my mind because I did not readily have the knowledge available to do the analysis in a way that I thought would be successful. So I made the excuse that it was too difficult and I wasted time initially because I felt like I couldn't do it. So has anybody, we've all used excuses, but does anybody have an excuse that they've used for something that they want to share?
I do.
Go ahead. Go
I'm a
ahead.
talker, y'all. I would
It's
say
okay.
because
I appreciate you.
right now I live in North Carolina, and I've been wanting to move, for a while.
Yeah, you
But at first,
told me that months ago. Yes.
yeah. So at first, it was the thought of actually moving, and I'm like, oh, it costs too much to live over there, or this costs too much. I'd be better off staying here. So I felt like that was my excuse as to why I was scared to move away out of my comfort zone.
Mm.
And now I'm kind of like, well, you know what? If I want to grow and if I want to experience things, I'm going to have to change, whether it's how much rent I pay or if I got to pay for parking, that's just part of what I'm going to have to do to move on in life. And I let go of that excuse of everything being too expensive. And now I'm ready.
Good. That's awesome. It's awesome that you are aware enough, you're self aware enough to recognize that. Because a lot of people are not in a place yet that they are self aware enough to recognize that. And one of the things that you mentioned is also the last thing that I have on this slide, and that is fear. Fear keeps us from doing a whole lot of stuff, right? So, moving from North Carolina to Virginia can be a big deal, right? You're talking about shifting where you live, shifting your whole life right now, and that can be fearful. A lot of times we are fearful of a lot of things. We're fearful of judgment. We're fearful of criticism. Sometimes we are fearful of success. Has anybody ever heard of anybody being afraid of success, having the fear of success?
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And I don't know if any of you all have experienced that, but my husband says to me, the fear of success, what? I don't have that. I want to be successful. I want everything I can get. And I told him, that's true for you. But when you are successful, a lot of things can change, right? Your friends, your relationships can change. The things that the people you used to hang around could change. If you become successful, you could have the fear of, okay, did that really happen because I worked hard or was that just a fluke? Now, am I going to have to show continuous success? Now that I've been successful with this, that means there's no going back. I'm going to have to keep moving forward. A lot of times fear keeps us in our limiting beliefs, right? One of the things that I say about the children should be seen and not heard, where did that come from? Could it have really just come from a tired mom or a tired grandma that said, you know what, if these kids say one more thing to me today, I'm just not going to be able to keep it together. So I'm going to tell them that children should be seen and not heard, so they'll be quiet. Where did that come from? So we have to look at all these things and we have to be self-aware so we can try to move past them. So some of the ways that our limiting beliefs can impact us in our career or our personal life is I don't statements, right? when we define ourselves by what we do or do not, we can limit ourselves. So these are all things that I have heard from people that I've worked with or that I know or just in casual conversation. I heard someone say they had their own marketing company. I'm sorry, they had their own, they are an accountant. And what they said was, I don't do marketing. I'm an accountant. So, my business is accounting. I don't do marketing. So my question to them was, well, how are people going to know that you have an accounting service? How are people going to know that you are an accountant if you don't do marketing, right? Now, marketing might not be your specialty, but you're going to have to market yourself in some way so you can get to the business of accounting. Have any of you ever used I don't statements when somebody said, can you do this? And you say, well, I don't do that. I don't do that. And I mean in a way that can limit you from fulfilling your full potential. So
If we haven't said it, we've thought it.
Yeah, I think the thoughts may be
exactly.
totally different than what you say, because
And
sometimes
when I
we do things afraid.
oh, go ahead, Keisha. Right. And when I say, have you said it? What I mean by that is, have you said it to yourself? Which means you may not have verbalized it, right? But these are all things that are going through our minds all day, every day, and they are limiting us, and we don't even realize it, right? So when we say, I can't, we believe our abilities are fixed and we cannot learn. So I have a friend that has a daughter, and she decorates for events. I mean, baby showers, weddings, birthday parties, and her work is immaculate. It is beautiful. And people constantly say, well, can you be the event planner? Meaning, can you get the venue? Can you do the meals? Can you do all of that and the decorating? She constantly says, I can't do event planning. I can only decorate events. Do you know the thousands of dollars that she is leaving on the table because she has the I can't mentality? And one time she didn't know how to decorate for events either, but she learned, right? She came to a birthday party I had for my son when he was 2 years old. He had a SpongeBob birthday party. My son is now 10. And she brought her child to the birthday party and she said, oh man, Jennifer, I just love what you did for the decorations for this party. I think I can do that. And now she does this business full time. That's her job. So if she was able to learn that, she can learn how to be an event planner, right? So this I can't is limiting her. So I think that all of us have said to ourselves, I can't do that, right? I said that before I wrote my book. I really want to write a book, but I can't do that. I can't do that. I started on that book, my book journey in March of 2020, and the book was written and published by July. So the thing about it is we need to stop telling ourselves that what we can't do. So another thing is the I must and I must not. So we are often bound by non-mandatory values, norms, and rules, right? So I must appear perfect. So prime example is today. So I am not feeling my best, right? And so Keisha hasn't told you all, but I am getting over COVID. So I had to do this presentation today. So this morning, when I tell y'all I was looking rough, I had on a sweatsuit. I was looking crazy. My husband was like, well, just go ahead and do the presentation. People will understand. And I was like, I can't, I'm not going to do that. I must appear professional, right? So I was able to bound myself by saying that, right? And who knows, maybe if I had got on here with my sweatsuit on, people could have looked at me as being more approachable or even more realistic than what I am, right? So we have to really pay attention to the things that we're saying to ourselves. And we have to redirect our thoughts. Does anybody have anything they want to say before I go to the next slide? Okay, I'll go to the next slide. So, how can we frame our limiting beliefs? So, I say ask yourself these questions. And when I say ask yourself these questions, I mean seriously consider the answers to these questions. The first one is, what have you missed out on in life because of your limiting beliefs? I can tell you when I was younger, job opportunities that I missed out on because of fear. I had people that could see potential in me that I couldn't see in myself. They offered me job offers that were way more than anything I could imagine. And out of fear, I turned that down. So who's to say what I missed out on because of a decision that I made 15 years ago, 16 years ago, right? Another question that we need to ask ourselves, is there any truth in your limiting belief? The limiting beliefs that you have, is there any truth in it? So if you say bad things always happen to me, is that true? I mean, bad things happen to all of us sometimes.
Right.
But the ultimate bad thing hasn't happened to you, right? Because you wake up every morning. You're here, right? You're breathing.
Right.
Most of us have shelter, have food. So is there any truth in bad things always happen to me? Or when you say bad things are always happening to me, does that become a self-fulfilling prophecy? What if you said, you know what, good things always happen to me. I already know this is going to work out because good things always happen to me. Even if this situation is bad, in the end, the way it's going to turn out is going to be for my good. Because I tell my kids all the time that we don't lose. We either win or we learn. We do not lose. Doves don't lose. That's what I tell them. So another question to ask yourself, how are you contributing to keeping your limiting beliefs going? So I'm going to keep it all the way real with you all, and you all let me know what you think. There is comfort sometimes in being miserable. There is comfort in not moving and not moving towards your goals and not moving towards your success, right? There can be comfort in making excuses. Have you all ever became stuck somewhere because you were comfortable? If you're comfortable, you're not growing. Those two things can't exist. So have you ever worked to keep your limiting beliefs going? I can't do that. You say, I can't do that. So then you do nothing.
I think
Has anybody ever done that before?
Yeah, I think at one point I may have done that. Yeah. You get very comfortable, with the way things are, and then you don't want to rock the boat or whatever, move.
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. So the next question is, what would you gain if you got rid of your limiting beliefs? I'm going to tell y'all a story, and this is it's funny to me. I don't know if it's going to be funny to y'all, but for all of the women of African American descent on the call, one of the major reasons that a lot of Black women can't swim is because we didn't want to mess our hair up. Do y'all, for the women on the call that are of African American descent, is that true? Is that a true statement?
Yes, true. Ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Right. It's true. Right. It's true. So what would we gain if we got rid of the limiting belief that it's going to mess our hair up? Right. If we just said, you know what? So what? They make products to get chlorine out of our hair. They make products. Could you imagine how many of us could swim? Right? What would you gain if you got rid of your limiting belief? What could you do if you said, I'm just going to go for it? Rather than saying, I can't, you say, I can. Rather than saying, I don't, you say, I do. And the last question that you really have to do some soul searching on is, what are you afraid of that may make your limiting belief stick with you, right? Because when you are afraid, it's easy to say the same thing over and over again, right? So for my friend with the event decorating business, it's easy for her to constantly say, I can't do that. I can't do that, because she's afraid to venture out, because she's afraid of the monumental success that she may have and what that is going to require of her, right? Because when you step up to the plate, a lot of times a lot more is required of you. But if we want to fulfill the purposes in our lives, then we have to be willing to recognize, remove, and replace those limiting beliefs. So once you recognize, remove, and replace your limiting beliefs, your success can be limitless. This is a true statement, right? And if you're saying to yourself, yeah, whatever, Jennifer, but this, and this, all those things after but are limiting beliefs. I'm telling you that they are.
Mhm.
So that is basically the end of my presentation. So I will ask you all, did anybody have any questions for me, or any comments or anything they would like to say?
I really enjoyed it.
Mhm.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
I
Thank you.
definitely enjoyed it, Jennifer. I really appreciate you taking the time to speak to us, even though you're a little bit under the weather as well. Yeah, never thought about it being limiting beliefs, things that you think of, things that can be hindering you from moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
Truly enjoyed your presentation. And
Oh, thank you, Pete.
and for the record, I'm gonna steal your "We either win or we learn" quote, because I really love that one.
That's
I,
right.
I
That's
just want to
right.
let you know ahead of time I'm gonna steal that.
I stole it from someone else, so hey, you can have it. I, I will share with you all that this is my book.
Question. Oh, okay.
Sure.
I was gonna
No, go
ask
ahead.
where your book was located.
Okay, so this is my book, Ready for More, A Woman's Guide to Becoming Fearlessly Authentic. I will say that, yes, I wrote it for women, but a lot of men have read it and they enjoyed it. So I will say it's for everybody, for anyone who wants to become fearlessly authentic. And what the book is about is stepping into who you really are. Because a lot of times in life, we wear a lot of different masks for a lot of different things. We act one way in our relationships. We act another way when we're with our girlfriends. We act one way when we're at work. But what is the true you? Because when you become authentically you, then you open yourself up to fulfill the true purpose for your life. So that's what the book is about. And thank you guys so much. These are all the ways to connect with me. If you want to follow me, contact me, email me at Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, website, and my email address. And I appreciate, Keisha, thank you so much for encouraging me to do this today. And I really appreciate having all of you all on the call today.
Well, I just want to add, Jennifer, that I have really enjoyed this. And I have bought the book, I read the book, I read it in one sitting, and I really enjoyed it. And I just want to add that I realized that I do have a limiting belief. And I just told my students, because I had a class before I came on to this, and I told them how I was learning how to swim when I was 4 years old. And this little boy pushed me in the swimming pool and I almost drowned. And because of that experience of almost drowning, that today I still don't know how to swim. And
Right.
now I realize, I said, oh my goodness, does this mean I need to learn how to swim now at my age? So I need to still think about it. But it has been a limiting belief in my life all along. And either I do something about it or nothing. And at this stage in my life, I'm saying, well, why does it matter now? And I don't know, maybe I will, but thank you for sharing that.
You should learn, Sharon. You know why? Because if you
I
learn how to
thought you
swim, you
were
don't
going
have
to
to.
say
You don't. If you learn how to swim, you don't have to worry about drowning.
that. I just don't go in the water, Jennifer. I just don't. I'll take a, I
So
just don't. So you know what? I really feel that maybe, and this is a limited belief, that maybe my time has passed. And by that, you know what I mean, at this stage of my life, it's like, well, it's just very hard for me to even think about doing it now, because now I'm really embarrassed to take a
Well,
swimming
that's a
class.
limiting belief.
Yeah,
That's a limiting belief.
you're right.
And so for Liddy, no, the book is not on Amazon. And I'm gonna keep it all the way real with you all. The book is not on Amazon because Amazon takes 40%
Whoa.
of what you make on the book.
Okay.
So where can
The
I get
book,
it?
the book is on my website, www.jenniferjdove.com. I'll put it in the chat. Hold on, let me put it in the chat right quick.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. I see you put it in there.
Yeah. And don't forget the J in the middle.
Don't forget the J in the middle, because if you go to jenniferdove.com,
Yes,
it's
there's
somebody that's
another
doing
Jennifer.
something with some crystals and
Right.
psychic stuff and all of that. So,
Yes.
but thank you all. And Sharon, not taking swimming lessons at your age, believing that you shouldn't do it, is a limiting belief within itself. You might encourage someone else to take swimming lessons at your age. And if you know how to swim, you don't have to worry about drowning. And when you go to the beach every year with your girlfriends, because I know you do, you can get in the water.
But I just get in the shower in, Jennifer, okay? And really,
Okay.
I don't think I'm gonna change now, but I do know, I recognize what it is.
Right.
It's a
Right.
belief. Now,
That's
when
it.
I'm 100, if I
And you,
decide to learn how to swim, I might do that. But
well, as long as you recognize it and you know, I tell people, my kids all the time, what G.I. Joe says, when you know, knowing is half the battle. That's what G.I.
right,
Joe always says.
that's
So,
right,
okay.
correct.
Well, I think I stopped swimming because of fear. I almost drowned when I was 9 years old. So I love the beach.
And
I just don't go swimming.
I get it. And almost drowning is a traumatic experience. It
Mm.
is. And it takes a lot to move past that. But once you know how to swim and you are secure in that, then the fear of drowning then starts to gradually go away, because now you know what to do. You know how to save yourself, right? So it's just something to think about. Like, I'm not telling you that you should do it, but at least consider it. At least consider facing your fears, because who knows where you could be on January 10th, 2023, if you decided to start facing your fears and doing something about it starting today.
That's right.
I think I should.
Yeah,
I think
Because
yeah.
I grew up next to the water, and when I came to United States, all my friends knows how to swim, and I'm the only one that doesn't go to the water, so it's kind of disappointing. So I will keep that in mind, and perhaps that's my New Year's resolution.
Yes, I think that's great.
Oh, wow. This was awesome. I really, really enjoy your presentation and really feel inspired. I mean, Jennifer was right there along by the side of me and others as we started this Hampton Roads COMTO chapter. So you can imagine how much of an aid and an inspiration she was in getting over all the hurdles. We started this chapter in 2020, which was right at the start of COVID. I mean, we thought that was pretty much it, right? COVID hit. We were getting ready to have our, interest meetings, and, COVID hit. And we're like, I mean, what are we going to do? But, the national chapter, national, organization was like, let's continue on. You achieved quite a bit. And Jennifer wrote that proposal, which became like the example used for other starting chapters. I'm sure there's been some good ones subsequently, but she was a standard of excellency at the start. She is as great a writer, well, obviously she's an author now, as she is, a speaker and a life coach. So thank you. We're so happy to have you as part of the chapter. We encourage everyone on call who's not a member to join with COMTO Hampton Roads. Not only do you get be around Jennifer and be inspired on a regular basis, which is a benefit in and of itself. There's a lot of great things that we're doing and have the aspirations to do, but we definitely need all of you to do it. This is a great, chapter because being a starter chapter, it's got a lot of potential to do a lot of great things in this area. And we need you and your ideas and your talents and your vision. So please join with us and partner with us to do it. We got Malcolm here as the first vice president, and he is with the Hampton Roads Partners. Connector partners. Oh, I'm messing up your company's title, but they're building the that third crossing over there. Big major project in the country. So with that, I guess I'm done speaking. I'm gonna turn it over to see Malcolm. You got some closing remarks for us to close us out?
I just share everybody's enthusiasm with how great a presentation that was, Jennifer. Thank you so much, and really glad to see you're doing well, all things considered. And it seems to be very common these days on the project as well. I know you've seen some people walking back and forth in the background here, but we have a significant portion of our people working on the project either working from home or not working at all because of it. And as a former, I guess you could call it survivor at this point myself, had it back in March of 2020, the first wave. I know how bad it can be, so I'm very glad to see you doing well and inspiring us in spite of everything. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, with that, I'll close us out. And Jennifer, you go get some rest. I know you probably depleted a lot of that energy because you came full of energy. Thank you for it. Go get some rest. We hope you get better soon. And thank you all for being on call today. And thank you, Miss Waters. We're so happy to have you and Liddy as well. Thank you so much for supporting us.
Sure, indeed. Enjoyed it so much.
Thank you, Keisha. Keisha, April Ray is on the call. Have you seen her?
Hi, I was hanging out in the background, but this is April Rai, the new president and CEO of COMTO.
Yes,
so
just to make sure.
To be on the call.
Oh, yes.
I'm hanging out in the background watching and taking notes. Thank you, Jennifer. Amazing discussion today. Thank you, Keisha. Thank you, Malcolm. Thank you, Liddy. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I was remiss. I know we're talking about this big project that we're on. We also have Miss Carla Perkins from Business Transformation Group, who's also part of our civil rights team with us here today. And she's been a big supporter and advocate for COMTO. So thanks, Carla, for being here as well.
Thanks, Malcolm, and great job,
Thank
everybody.
you, Carla.
Thank you.
Great job, Jennifer. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Have a good day.
Have a good week, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Have a good day.